Hey guys, it's KARTHUS. If you don't know who I am, I'm a KARTHUS one-trick who peaked at rank 5, 1647 LP last season, and as of right now, I currently have 3 challenger accounts in NA. If you're looking to learn or improve on KARTHUS jungle, this guide is for you. I'll be going over what I think is everything you need to know. Let's start with what runes you should take. KARTHUS has 2 options when it comes to runes, Dark Harvest and First Strike. Both runes are good, but they both have different playstyles. Dark Harvest is stronger early and has more fighting potential. First Strike is a better scaling and utility rune page that gives you an easy way into the mid/late game. This is the full rune page that I'm currently taking in basically every game because the new Liandry's pairs really well with Dark Harvest, and this page lets you maximize your damage. This season, the new Liandry's item has a new build path with an item called Haunting Guise, which says for each second in combat with enemy champions, deal 2% increased damage, stacking up to 3 times for a total of 6%. This stacks very well with Dark Harvest, because if you take First Strike and build this, you're actually losing out on a lot of damage when you ult. For summoner spells, I take Smite obviously, but I actually prefer Flash over Exhaust. People always ask why I don't take Exhaust, and the reason for that is because I feel like you're losing out on too much mobility and being able to steal objectives or flashing in properly to get better use of your passive. I believe you can win almost every 1v1 without having to take Exhaust. For which Smite is best, I actually like to take Blue Smite because of how many bushes are on the map, and the free movement speed you get is just too good not to take. You're able to travel through the map faster, and you can clear your camps faster, and since KARTHUS has no mobility in general, this is the best Smite to have. Now, let's talk about matchups for KARTHUS. High mobility champs that can invade early such as Bel'Veth, Kindred, Kayn are KARTHUS' biggest weaknesses. These 3 junglers can be a very tough time to play against, since they can start their raptors and then walk straight into my jungle. A way to prevent this from happening is to try to get a ward on their raptors, so if they do decide to invade, you'll be ready. I do like to start blue on KARTHUS, so if they invade you on Gromp, make sure to save your smite so you can secure it and just walk away if you can, but remember that it's way better to just give up the Gromp over dying. If you die for the camp and let them snowball with kills, that's an easy way to lose the game. If you don't die, you can always outscale and win. When it comes to KARTHUS, I always say that the first and most important thing is to learn how to properly clear. If you want to see how I clear efficiently, I'll leave my jungle clear guide in the description below. So like I said before, I start blue buff almost every game because if you start red, it's likely you'll be invaded at your blue, and if you lose your blue buff, your early game is much harder. Ideally, you should finish your clear around 255, and this gives you great tempo to either look to invade or gank a lane. With Dark Harvest, you want to look to fight more early game because you have power over the enemy jungler with your first clear. Look for opportunities you see in ganking, and if you have laners that can help, you should look to invade the enemy jungler. You can always catch the enemy jungler doing blue or Gromp after a full clear if you cleared properly, and it can result in either a kill or stealing their camps. Another tip that I can give is when the enemy jungler starts raptors, always try to steal their second raptor camp spawn. You can always win the 1v1 because you should have an item advantage over them. Here you can see that I got invaded level 2 by the Kayn, but I did a proper clear, based, and then I fought him at his raptors, pushing me with a massive lead. In Season 14, Riot added a new monster camp called Void Grubs. The problem with Void Grubs is that people don't realize that this camp is not as overpowered as people make it out to be. On KARTHUS, you should value tempo and scaling, so I would only take 1 Void Grub and then leave the other 2 because it's not worth your time because they give a significantly less XP. A lot of people don't know this, but you can actually do the Void Grubs over the wall, and this is a great way when you're on the red side, you can safely do 1 Void Grub with little to no risk. Now, let's talk about the build. In the jungle, your priority is always Sorcerer Shoes. With Dark Harvest, Magic Pen Boots Rush is always the best option to buy first, because the movement speed advantage is amazing early game. When you're ganking with tier 2 boots, usually the enemy will either have tier 1 boots or no boots at all, making ganking very easy on KARTHUS. The first item rush is always Liandry's. I know Malignance is supposed to be the first item to buy since the build path is Lost Chapter, but Malignance feels very weak as a first item, and Liandry's damage feels perfect for a first item spike. Liandry's gives a lot of damage with KARTHUS' Qs, E, and R, while Malignance only benefits your ult, and does not benefit your Qs or your E. After Liandry's, I like to buy Malignance second, It feels good because by the time you have these two items, you'll be around level 11 so your ult can start doing a lot of damage. My third item is always Rabadons. If you were to buy Shadow Flame third, it would take you forever to end up getting Rabadons, so I like to go Rabadons third. For the last two items, it's usually either Crypt Bloom if they're building MR and Shadow Flame. Personally, I believe that Crypt Bloom is just a better pen item over Void Staff as of right now. Although Void Staff gives a little bit more pen and AP, the heal can definitely change a team fight. If you're going First Strike instead of Dark Harvest, I would say to go Malignance first and then Liandry second, but keep the rest of the build the same. During the mid game, you have a few objectives. One is clearing your camps as fast as possible so you're able to fight afterwards without losing out on XP and gold. Then you want to hover your laners to look for potential plays to gank or counter gank. Play with your teammates properly and play for neutral objectives, and with Liandry's Rush it's really easy to solo Dragon and Herald. Everyone always asks how to land Qs, and the answer is that there isn't a proper explanation for that, it's just practice. What I can say is to try to land the Qs where you think the enemy is going to be clicking. If they're a melee champion they're auto-attacking you, just Q on top of yourself. Never face check anything when you have your W up, because your W gives a lot of vision. In early game, always be auto-attacking with your E on, because those auto-attacks can make a big difference in an early game fight. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.